So on this week's episode of Fly in 5, we will be talking about control surfaces and control linkages and all the stuff that make your plane go where you want it to. So we're going to start off with how to make your control surfaces, like how to hinge them and stuff. So as you can see, this is an elevator right here, and we are going to make this piece of foam a control surface. So we're going to pretend this is like part of this elevator or just any elevator. So we're going to hinge it. We're going to make a control surface on this and hinge it and put a servo on it. So first, obviously, you're going to need to mark out where your control surface is going to be. So for this, let's pretend it's an elevator. I'll make it about just as wide as this ruler. So I'll go like that, and then you just cut off part that's going to be the control surface, and that's a dull knife, so I'll use this one. Basically just cut it off like that. That was a bad cut, but oh well. Now the next thing you're going to do is bevel one of the surfaces that moves. So obviously this has to move, and it can't move if they're both just like square. So you're going to have to bevel one of them, and I usually like to bevel the one that's connected to the plane, or the one that's not moving. So just take a sharp knife and just cut at an angle, and just very slowly, take your time, go down the edge of the foam, make a nice angle like that. See that? It's a very nice angle. So now, ouch, I just burnt myself. Basically now you're gonna need some tape. Now you can use that Scotch Extreme tape, and that has nylon fibers in it. But for most planes, I just use normal packing tape because it hinges a little easier, and you don't need tons of strength. So just take a piece of tape, not too big. So see, I've got a piece of tape, and then just put it over your elevator and lay it down and crease it like that. So then you've got a hinge that works. See that? But now this could like peel this way, and it could still peel off easy. So we're going to put a piece of tape on the back side. Now when I'm doing the planes, I don't usually put a whole piece of tape along the back side of the hinge. I usually just put like 3 little places of it, like usually one on one tip. So like one on one edge of the elevator, another on the other edge, and then one by the servo linkage. So basically you just bend it back like that. Put the tape on, lay it flat down like that so it's flat, and then crease it down, and there you have a hinge that's not going to come off, and it's very sturdy. So now we're going to put in the control horn. Now you can buy control horns and stuff like that, but usually I just like to use popsicle sticks, because then I don't have to buy any control horns or anything like that. So we're going to turn this popsicle stick into a control horn now. So you should take a drill bit that's about just as big as the control rod that you're going to be using, and just drill a hole in it. Oh, this drill's out of batteries. So as you can see, it did make it through, but it also kind of broke through on the backside, but that's okay because this isn't actually going on any airplane. So as you can see, that it works. But if I was actually building this for an airplane that I didn't want to crash or something, I would have done it again and made it so it wouldn't break out on the back. Now there is something you can do to make that stronger, since that is just a little tiny thing of wood at the top. I like to go and put just a little bit of super glue or CA over the top of that, and that kind of soaks into the wood and strengthens all that up. So now you're going to want to cut your control horn about the size you need it, so that it sticks out of the foam enough, and so that it has enough control. So the smaller you make your control, the less you have your control horn sticking out of the foam. So for example, this, if it's really close to the foam, if that hole's super close to the foam, then it's going to have a lot of movement. But if it's up here and farther away from the foam, it's going to have less movement but more strength on the control surface. So now to install it in the foam, you go and cut a slit on your control surface like that, and you fit your little control horn in there. Make sure it fits nice and well like that, and then take your hot glue gun, put some glue over that little slit, push it in there like that, and take your glue gun and just kind of seal up the sides of that there with the tip. Just push the glue around, just make it really sturdy, and just kind of get those strings off the hot glue gun. But then there you have it. That's control horn. Now we're going to put on this push rod and servo. So here is our servo, and here is our control rod that we're going to use. Now it has a little V in it because number one, you can adjust how long the push rod is a little bit by adjusting that V, by pulling it apart or pushing it together. So what you need to do is thread the control rod through your control horn. So as you can see, then it works like that. And now you need to put on your servo. So I'm gonna do this the other way so I have a little bit more room. This servo is actually not working, but it doesn't need to be here for right now. So there you have it. So now you need to put some glue on the back of your servo and glue it on there so that your control surface is at the angle you want it to be. So you just glue that down, hold it there for a little while, let the glue dry, and then you have control surface, and if that moves, your control surface also moves. So that's that. Now we will cover different types of push rods. So the most common push rods I use are actually replacement push rods for a Hobby Zone Super Cub. I just buy them from Hobby Zone, and as you can see, they come with this nice little clevis or whatever it's called. It's got like a little rubber band over it. Now if you were using one of these, you just open it up like that and put it in there in that little hole on the control horn, and then put the rubber band over it. And you can adjust the length of these by twisting this. You can't see this, but that rod right there is threaded so that you can control the length of these. So that's very nice. And then I just shortened this one up. But these come about this long, and you can shorten them. Actually, all the wire that I use for push rods is pretty much from Hobby Zone Super Cub push rods. So that's what I use. You can also go to the hobby shops and get other kinds, but these are nice because they're just really easy to use. So let's say my servo is centered right now, but see how the control surface is still up? So to fix that, we would simply stretch out that V a little bit. Yeah, and there you see now it's better. So that's what that V is for. And it also, if you crash or something and your control surface gets jammed up, that V will kind of bend and absorb some of the force and not strip out your servo as easily. Now we will be checking out some other control system setups. Here I have just a standard servo, 9-gram servo. It's just pretty much the same as that one, set up the same. Then on the other side here, we've got just pretty much the same thing except up on the rudder. This is a smaller little plane. The other one looked like that. This one basically just has servo going like a bent arm like that. The other side, just simple setup. This is thicker foam, so I made that control horn longer so that it goes into that foam more. But the servo's back there, so those are all pretty much the same control surface setups. This is my Skywalker. If you move under here, you can see that I've got 9-gram servo in there, just a control rod, and this is a different way of doing it. That's a little, I don't even know what that thing's called, but it's used on a lot of kits. But that nut right there tightens, it goes in and pushes on the control rod, and it makes it tight, and then that's a carbon fiber control horn up in there. So this system also works out quite nicely. Then on the back I've got the same thing, but just without the carbon fiber. Just got a normal plastic control horn. So that also works out quite nice. So that was this episode of Flying 5. Hope that helped out some of you noobs. Pretty basic stuff, but oh well. So hope that helped some of you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Fly in 5.